Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So HTVRONT sent me over their new Auto Heat Press 2. I have their first AutoPress, and that's actually the press that I use for most of my projects. I really like that first AutoPress, however, there is a few things that I would change about it, and hopefully they change those things with this new one. So stay tuned and let's get started. Alright, so I went ahead and I unboxed the new AutoPress 2. It was already assembled, so you don't have to put anything together. So both of these heat presses do have a pull-out drawer, but the one thing I didn't like about the first one is that the pull-out drawer did not come all the way out. It still had about an inch or two underneath that hot plate, and I was always nervous that I was going to burn myself. But with the new Auto Heat Press 2, it comes out and it has about an inch or two of space in between the heat plate and the pull-out drawer, so it's a lot safer than that first one. I already have a full review of the first heat press, so if you guys want an in-depth tutorial on how that one works, I can link it below because in this video I won't be turning on that first heat press. So off rip, you can see that the AutoPress 2 has a bigger control screen, and that screen also has a film on it that you can remove. But the difference between this screen and the other screen is that it has a tilt, and you can change the angle of the screen to your liking. I like mine to be at a slight angle. With all HTVRONT heat presses, the light is going to blink on the on button just to show you that it's plugged in, but once you press that on button, it's not going to blink anymore and it's going to be a solid light. Pressing this thermometer button will allow you to adjust the temperature. The max temperature on the AutoPress 2 is 410 degrees Fahrenheit. For regular HTV, I normally keep my temperature between 310 and 315. This clock button allows you to change the time. So you can change the time in 5-second increments by clicking on the plus or the minus button. For HTV, I normally do about 20 seconds. With the AutoPress 2, you're able to change your pressure. So this little gauge at the bottom is going to allow you to change your pressure. So it looks like the minimum pressure on this one is 50 pounds and the max is 170 pounds. The AutoPress 1 has an auto pressure, so you're not able to adjust it. So I'm just going to set this to the default, which was 110 pounds. Alright, so our first test is going to be with regular HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl. We're going to see how this heat press does transferring regular heat transfer vinyl onto a cotton t-shirt. I already have my heat press set to the heat transfer vinyl settings, so the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is pull out that drawer, and then we're going to place our t-shirt onto that heat press. So like I said before, the drawer does give you space unlike the first one, and it's a lot easier to put the t-shirt on there than that first heat press. And here I'm just doing a quick 5-second pre-press before I add the vinyl on there. Make sure to press the 8 on your AutoPress. That's going to make sure that your press will AutoPress. And here I am just adding my design onto the center of my t-shirt. I'm not being too precise just because this is just a tester, but this HTV that I'm using doesn't have a sticky back on it, so I'm just using heat transfer tape to make sure that it stays down. So after I'm done, I'm going to add the Teflon sheet that came with the heat press on top of my design. And then remember, with Teflon sheets, you only want to use it on your HTV transfer. You don't want to use it on a DTF or on a sublimation one because it's going to trap that moisture in there. So after sliding in that drawer, your heat press should automatically press down. And then after your selected time, minus 20 seconds, it's going to automatically raise, and then you're able to pull out that drawer and your design should be good. So after pulling out that drawer, I'm going to remove that Teflon sheet and I'm just going to wait on my design to cool down before I peel it off. So as I was peeling off that backing, this corner stuck up a little bit, but I don't think that was an issue with the heat press. I think it was an issue with this heat transfer vinyl that I have. It was pretty old. I should have used a fresh one. But as you can see, peeling it off of the rest of the design, I really didn't have any problems. It was just a little corner piece right there. So maybe I had something trapped under it and I didn't realize, but the rest of it did peel off nice and clean. I'm really happy with how this applied the heat transfer vinyl onto my t-shirt. I knew it would be good though because I do use that first one. Like I said, the first one is the one that I use for all of my projects, and this just applied it the same. Like I said, the major difference is that space between the drawer and the heating element. Whenever I was putting the t-shirt on there, I didn't have to worry about getting accidentally burnt. Now the next project we're going to try is a DTF transfer. Now I did see some reviews of this machine that said that the DTF transfers will peel off, or it doesn't apply the DTF transfers on there well. So we're going to try it with this one. This is just an old DTF transfer that I had lying around, and we're going to transfer it onto this toddler shirt. So I'm just going to place it into the center of my design, and of course I'm going to add that heat transfer tape just because this one doesn't have a sticky back either. And I'm going to add just like a sheet of parchment paper on top of it to protect it. I'm gonna keep the same time and temperature that I use for the heat transfer vinyl, but instead of the regular pressure, I'm gonna up the pressure to 170 just to make sure that DTF transfer is gonna be secure onto the t-shirt. I waited until my DTF transfer was completely cooled, and I went ahead and I removed that backing. When I was peeling off that backing, I had no issues with this DTF transfer. It was completely secure onto the t-shirt, but I like to do an extra step when I'm applying DTF transfers. So after peeling off the backing, I'll put that parchment paper back on top and I'll press it on my heat press for an additional 5 seconds just to make sure that design is secure on there. So because I always do that with my DTF transfers, I'm going to do that here too just to see if it makes a difference. So after my design was done, I peeled off that parchment paper and that design is secure on there. Now I will check back in later. I'm gonna wash it a little bit just to see, but as of right now, this design is secure on there. I even stretched it a little bit to see if it's gonna peel from the corners at all, and nope, it's secure on there. So I would say this is a success. The last test we're gonna be doing is sublimation. So for sublimation, I'm gonna turn my temperature up to 400 degrees and my time up to 60 seconds. I'm also going to leave that pressure at 170 pounds because with sublimation you want to use as much pressure as possible to make sure that ink stays on your design. So I'm actually going to be pressing a passport holder. My mother-in-law is going on a trip and she wants me to make her a passport holder, and luckily I had one in stock. So I just printed this out using my sublimation printer, which is an Epson ET15000 that I just added sublimation ink into, and I'm going to apply that design onto this passport holder. And if you've ever done sublimation before, you know you need to be very careful with it because that ink will spread and be on everything. So I'm going to place my design onto my passport holder, and I'm using this heat transfer tape just to make sure that everything is secure on there. I'm also going to place a layer of parchment paper underneath it and on top of it to make sure that it doesn't bleed onto my mat. So full transparency, I had a hard time pressing this passport holder. So I placed it into my heat press, but as soon as I pushed the drawer in, it just lifted up. So I was trying to see what was going on with that. So I pulled it out and I tried it again and it did the same thing. It just lifted up. So at first I was like, maybe it's the pressure, so I can adjust the pressure on it. But no, that's not the case. So then I opened the passport up because I was like, maybe it's a little bit too thick. But no, that didn't work either. So before I fully gave up, I decided to take the passport and move it to the center of the heat press because I was like, maybe it's off center, so it's just not working. So after I opened it up and I moved it to the center of the heat press, it ended up working that time. So as a reminder, if you're working with something a little bit bulky, you want to make sure it's in the center of your heat press. And after that fiasco, after my heat press was done with the sublimation, I went ahead and pulled the drawer out. And whenever I peeled back my design, you can see the ink bled out a little bit, which shows that it pressed. And as I removed that paper from the back of it, y'all, it looks beautiful. So sublimation works amazingly on this. Like I said, I used the most pressure that you could, and I made sure the temperature was 400 degrees. And that's it, guys. I really enjoyed the heat press too. I like the changes that they made. It shows that they definitely listened to us because we made complaints with the first one that the drawer doesn't pull out and that you couldn't really change the pressure on it. But with this one, the drawer pulls all the way out. You can adjust the pressure to your liking. And I think that really makes a difference between the two. So leave a comment and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you would buy it or if you already have it, just leave your thoughts and let us know. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye!